Yo, 1 2 1 2. What it do? You are live on the scene. You got MJ, you got Germ So True, you got J Ham. Man, I appreciate these brothers for coming on. We're gonna be bouncing off some ideas or what have you. But the topic of this show is called The Machine. What we're gonna do is we're gonna break down the step-by-step process that a kid and a parent and everybody in their camp have to go through to get from playing this game for fun to playing this game for food to possibly playing this game professionally. So this is going to be an educational segment. Can't guarantee that I won't say some ignorant things on here because my feelings might get in it, but I'm gonna try to keep it professional for y'all as possible. Let's go ahead and swing around the horn right after we go ahead and make sure that you subscribe to this link, like, share, subscribe. The more you guys follow us, the more game we can give y'all so that we can be able to help y'all in our process. So let me go ahead and throw this over to the Cleveland area. We got Germ King, aka Germ So True. Tell them what to do.
Listen, whenever you out there and you a young bull and you need somebody to promote you, come to Germ King Productions. We got you. We got you. Just like Don King was for Mike Tyson, I'm gonna be the same way for you. But we ain't gonna do all the extra stuff. We just gonna get you what you need and where you need to be. Now I'm gonna kick this over to my guy. And then we got over there. They got barbecue nachos. They got the whole nine. They got the whole 9 yard over there, and everything with Indian some. Kick it to my guy Jay Ham over there in that Memphis, Tennessee. Let's go.
Barbecue nachos, you said. I'm glad you thought about that because I really didn't have no like dinner ideas. But we got a couple other shows tonight and NFL football, so I might as well add that to the list for the day. Appreciate that, true. Anyhow, anytime MJ comes to the inbox, he like, yo, y'all got time today for one? He don't even have to give like a topic or none of that. It's like, hey, what time you talking about rolling? All right, let's go. And that's pretty much all I got on that. I got pen and pad. Let's
Uh,
rock.
all right, so let's rock. So unless you've been under a rock as of late, or you don't have any type of like internet connection or television, we're going through a few things in America and in the world, and it caused a lot of things to change. But some things remain the same. The one thing that remained the same is people are going to play basketball. That's the one thing that I'm taking out of this. So sports has quietly become an inelastic product in a world in which we can really use distractions and love. So understanding that, you have to understand that as long as sports is going to be prevalent, you're going to have a kid that has a dream to make it in professional sports, whether it's for financial reasons, whether it's for passion, or whether it's they have a parent that wants to push their kid to that level. Regardless of what happens, this game has now become $1 billion industry. Not the NBA, not the NFL, not even college, grassroots. You look at every place in the nation, you got AAU tournaments everywhere, all the way down to the first grade. You have rankings now that are ranking kids as the highest third grader. Whether we like this or not, this game has become monetized to the point where kids can't even be kids. And my man Germ, I'm pretty sure he can attest to how things should be. But right now, we're going to talk about how the way things are and how to navigate through it to make sure that you don't end up in a situation where you damage your kid's psyche. You put yourself in a situation where you strain the relationship with your kid and you just give them the opportunity to grow through the game. So let's go ahead and pass this around the horn. We got Trav in the building too. Trav, talk to the people.
Hey man, I'm just here so I won't be fine, but it's gonna get that way today, man, because the truth do need to be told about this whole this machinery, how it's all being marketed, and it's being marketed in the wrong way, to be honest. But this is what I'm here for, and this is what we do. So let's get it, man. Let's get it.
Well, let's first go to Germ because, like I said, I'm not going to just talk this whole time. We're going to definitely have some feedback. Germ, what are some of the things that you don't like about the AAU? Let's just go ahead and talk about it from what you see.
Well, what I don't like from the AAU circuit is the first and most important thing. It's really all about one or two kids. Let's just start there. There are good kids that don't get an opportunity that are just as good, or maybe not that upper echelon tier, but they're right up under it, meaning they could be a solid NBA player potentially. They could be one of the top 450 in the world, or they got an opportunity for them to get an opportunity to go overseas and clock a couple figures. But we push the guys that we see in the circuit. Now, being in Ohio, I was around for LeBron. I was around for OJ Mayo, things of that nature. I was around for a lot of these guys that we see, Sebastian Telfair, all of these different guys who got pushed by these machines that we're talking about today. So being around for these things and seeing that, it was some, I ain't gonna put say no names, but it was some cats that was better than Sebastian Telfair. It was a cat that used to push LeBron too that we don't talk about. And that ain't saying LeBron wasn't that dude. It's just saying LeBron at one time wasn't even the number one ranked player in Ohio. And people don't know that. LeBron was actually ranked in football and in basketball, just so people remember. And I can tell you he was ranked as the number one tight end in Ohio, but he wasn't even number one basketball player in Ohio at this time. I don't remember the cat's name. His name escapes me at the time. But LeBron actually went and took that in a head-to-head game. He took that number one player. So with that being said, I'm going to swing it over to Ham because, like I said, we ain't going to talk long. We just going to get in, exchange some points, and get it back to the point guard.
On the AAU side, straight business. It's scandalous. I mean, I saw a quote from John Lucas probably about 5 or 6 years ago, just speaking in terms of he didn't define it and refer to it as the machine, but he was basically talking about the machine. And he made that just one key point that always stuck with me. Once they see that they can put a brand on your kid, no matter what age, and they can flip it and make money off of it, it stopped being cute. It's not a game no more. Now it's really business. And this is when the opportunities for skill development, playing against other elite level competition with the quotations on it, that age group and level and whatnot, but they all started in big tournaments just being funded and put together, events being put together to bring the best of, and like we were saying, third graders, second graders, third graders. It's that kind of business down. It's insane. Hand it back around the way over to Trav, let Trav kick it back, and we keep rolling.
Trav is actually in and out. He got some things that going on, but I'll go ahead and take it from there. So you guys brought up great.
Ain't no turnovers over here. We ain't walking the ball up the floor.
Never. So you guys both brought up good points. So before I can define what the machine is, let me first, for everybody, define to you what AAU is if you don't know what it is. AAU is the high school version of an NCAA. AAU is the grade level 2 high school version of the NBA. And within AAU, you have certain leagues that measures the level of eliteness based on relationships, based on shoe companies that are following their brand, which means AAU as a whole does not care about being fair. So let's first start with that. AAU is not fair. It's not designed to be fair. If you do find an AAU coach that's going to play all of his kids and it's a teaching mechanism, I can guarantee you, unless he got a special group of kids, like I'm talking about all the third graders are like 5'8", can finish with left hand, right hand, they press, they all fast. Unless you got something like that, they're probably not going to win a lot of games. And he could be the greatest coach in the world. It's just a have-not game. So let's start there. Now, Jerm brought up a good point about, the 1 or 2 kids that usually get pushed. Well, why are those 1 or 2 kids getting pushed? Because they got the machine behind them. How did they get the machine behind them? They got the machine behind them because these kids were discovered early as being a rare talent for their age group. So the first thing is, the first rule of the machine is you don't find the machine. The machine finds you. Okay? How do you get the machine to find you is the question that you need to ask if you have a son or a daughter who really loves basketball. Here is your answer. 10,220. That's how many hours you should be putting in per year in this game. If you break it down, that's 4 hours a day. That's plenty of time for school, plenty of time for sleep, plenty of time to eat, even plenty of time for Fortnite and to study and do other things. The discipline in that is, can you make sure your kids are getting those 4 hours a day? Another question, the most important question, do your kid love this game enough to want to put in the 4 hours a day?
Stops being cute once the money comes into play.
Now, for those of you who don't know, but because you love your kid and you want to see your kid have the best, and your kid doesn't put the 4 hours a day in, which 95% of them aren't going to do it. They're not going to put those hours in. So because they're not going to put those hours in, you know what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to pay for those hours some other way. So because now your kid is behind and they're not putting the hours in, so what you have to do is now you have to hire people or get into a gym or get into areas in which he's playing against better competition. He's playing with a coach who has a proven system. He's working with a trainer that has a proof of concept and a proof of system. And these individuals are going to have to be responsible for pretty much dragging him to the point where he can be able to move on his own, like teaching a kid how to ride a bike. They're going to keep falling. They're going to keep falling. You got to hold that wheel until you can let it go and they can pedal on their own. But most of the time, most kids ain't going to just automatically just be in love with basketball at age 10. They don't know what they want. As a grown man, my love changes all the time to certain things. So how do you expect a 10-year-old to want to put that dedication to it? How do you expect it? You shouldn't. So this is where you got to hire people. So if your kid's not going to put those 4 hours in, you might as well set out about $5,000 a year to put into his getting better. Yeah, it just got real now. Now we're putting dollar amounts around it. And 5,000 is like very lenient because that's how much it's going to cost for a travel ball. That's how much it's going to cost to be able to work with a trainer for gym rental. That's how much it's going to cost to make sure he's getting the proper nutrition. That's how much it's going to cost to be able to buy highlight films if you're not making them, getting streaming services if you're not making them, and getting your foot in the door, which you can create a mini machine within the machine. But before we talk about the mini machine, right there, I'm going to pause and just see what Jerm and Jay Ham got to say about these things that I just talked about.
So let's start at the top.
Mm-hmm.
When you start to put a dollar amount on anything, that's when, I don't care what it is that you're doing, that's when it got serious. It got serious as soon as you said 5K for you to make sure that they get X, Y, Z. And this is what people got to understand. Work is not subjective to just being able to show up and just show out. You still got to do things behind the scenes, before the game, and behind the scenes after the game. Between the lines is only a part of this. And people think you can just show up and be the best between the lines. This is why we get kids who obviously get overshadowed, even though they're good between the lines. Do not get it mixed up, construe, or any of that extra nonsense. It's a lot of work that goes into this. It's a lot of politics that goes into this. And for all you folks out there who say y'all don't like politics, I just want to just put this out there. I'm about to put this in your face. Politics is in the food that we eat. It's in the life that we live. But most importantly, it is in everything that we love. Everything that we love. There's a political side to even something as simple as basketball now. So now that we have highlighted that, I want all y'all to take this political aspect of politically correct things that are going on in the world, and I want y'all to understand and cherish this situation because you are really getting some free game. This is free game. Ham.
I'm going to flip it to the international side real quick. And let's go back a couple episodes when we had our guy Greg Jones on. And y'all remember the story he told us in regards to Luka?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Shouts out to G too. He in the comments too. Shouts out to you, G.
But the thing that's always been aggravating to me from this standpoint, and this is like going back more than a decade, is how behind America has gotten with the rest of the world in terms of their development. It was like, if you're gonna play basketball, they starting you out playing basketball to put in possibly more than the 10,000 hours when you're coming from over that way. And everything that this kid is doing through education, school, everything is centered around grooming them as basketball players. Trav says it all the time when we speak on international players. You never see them have like issues of discipline. They don't get in trouble. The discipline has been built. Is, say they work habits, the work ethic, everything has been built and just nurtured properly to where when they come over, they have the culture shock, but they can come over at 19, 20. Sometimes, as Fran would say, they could be 2 years away from being 2 years away. But also at the same time, they're still more ready professionally to handle the demands of being a professional in the NBA, largely because they've been professionals since they were 10, 12, 13, 14. You know what I'm saying, in that regard. And that's where America has gotten behind because the general structure of school, of, playing basketball for the school in America is outdated in comparison to how you get groomed within the machine. Go ahead, Jerm. I fast back.
So real quick, let me shout out to everybody in the comments.
Yeah.
Calvin, Tyrell, Vic, Big Shot, of course,
Hello.
G2. What's up, Dennis King? Greg says something here that I gotta share.
Oh, talk to him.
He said international kids don't have the same vices as American kids. So let me start. Hold on. I'm not even finished with this.
He ain't even got to.
I'm gonna break this into parts. And look, different vices, they got different things that they have to go through, and as international kids to begin with. So we talking about in this situation, kids that come from the hood. Some of these third world countries that they come from are already impoverished too. So just like he says on the second part of this, they're coming from third world countries, no distractions, gotta make it. So yes, they're coming from third world countries with Trey Songz, just gotta make it. I just gotta make it. That's what the whole mantra and mindset is. So we can't use impoverished and poverty as a subject here to say that one person is more hungry than the next, because they're coming from absolutely nothing, just like some of these other people from impoverished. Come on, man. Let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it.
I'm gonna get Trav involved in this because anytime he pops on the camera, that means he got something to say. Trav, talk to him.
Man, y'all saying everything I want to say, bro. I mean, again, I'm just here so I won't be fined, man, because that's the whole thing about it, man. These kids are being taken advantage of, to be honest, man. Bottom line is, hey, you think these kids are being taken advantage of, and then all of a sudden you got to pay it back.
So I'm so glad you mentioned that because we're about to touch base. So I don't know if y'all seen the movie Talk to Me, but that's one of my favorite movies. They were shouting out P-Town. It was a local radio station that Don Cheadle played, and he was a radio personality that pretty much just said the real. And he got kicked off his debut radio station for talking about Berry Gordy and calling him a pimp. So the reason why he got kicked off because they was like, well, Berry Gordy did so much for these kids or whatever, but he's like, well, he pimping these kids for money. That's kind of the situation that we're in. And I'm about to just bluntly put it this way. Bringing up the international kids was a perfect thing to do because this is what people don't understand. As bad as it could be in America, if you're living in the hood or living in the situation, there are people out in other world countries that are dying and scrapping tooth and nail to be in your impoverished situation and is willing to do whatever it takes. Hence the reason why right now we do have human trafficking going on for basketball. That I will need more time to cover. I need 30 minutes, but I will drop that dime right there just to make sure that y'all understand we're not playing right now. It is really real. Like we literally have kids being moved from country to another country and being sold to places to play or being sold a dream, and now they don't even have a place to live. It's really that serious out here. Or they'll get a kid, they think they're getting, and they don't like the kid. They look at the kid as damaged goods and just keep moving. And now this kid is just in America with nothing to do. That's just the overseas element of it. Now let's talk about the damage that it's going to do to just a regular kid that's from the hood, or even a suburban kid. The fact that when you go on the AAU and you're not what you're supposed to do, they'll just replace you. If you go on the AAU, the right AAU, and you do what you're supposed to do, but it's somebody that got a bigger name than you, even if they're not better than you, they'll still replace you. That's how cold the game is. The game is so cold that this is the reason why we're focusing on the things you can control. Because if you put your 10,000 to 13 hours in, and if God blessed you with the gift of the genetic lottery or athletic ability or certain things that just make you in a higher hierarchy than the other players, now the money that you have to pay usually don't be there, because now if I got a 6-foot third grader that can finish with both hands and is slapping the glass, do you think he's gonna pay to play in my program? But that little 5'2" white kid is. Little Dylan gonna pay. Shoot, Johnny in the hood gonna pay because it's both of his parents that's working. They gonna pay. And eventually, while everybody's paying, they're gonna pay for this kid. Because this kid is the kid that I have to push, because if I befriend him early right now and he turns into something and he starts getting that bag, what you think he's going to do with the bag? It's going to flip into money back to my program. It's going to flip to a job opportunity, maybe an assistant coaching position at another level. It's going to flip to me possibly even being an agent or a handler or any other type of role that's going to give me a cushy job. Like, guys in this game are legitimately looking at these kids as a flip. And that's the part we don't want to talk about, but it's going on right now, and it's going to keep going on. It's time to stop running from it and hiding from it. So if you're going to play this game, if you're going to play for food, you have to understand that you're going to be a whore for this game. Do you love basketball enough to be a whore for it?
You can't get more harsh than that, but you can't get more real than that. That's just straight up. It's truly selling out. It's the sacrifice. It's the, you saying 10,000, I'm calling more, of course, for a lot of them, because it's just gonna take that. That's just the nature of the beast. Some got to go harder. Some got to put more time in.
Let me just say this. Let me say this. You said it already, so now it got to come out. I can't hold it in no more.
Okay.
The game is about pimps and whores.
Yep.
Really simply put, if you a pimp, you're gonna whore your services out to other pimps to further the pimping. But at the end of the day, are you willing to whore yourself for long enough in order to become a part of the pimp circle or the pimp crew? That LeBron did it, so it's not impossible.
I mean, and the thing about it is, what you can hope for is in this process is that you have people around you who also teach you to have a boss mentality.
Mm-hmm.
So now, if you and this is one of the good things about the game, because I know this sounds like I'm going at the game very harshly. One of probably the best things that could have happened to this game right now is kids understanding that they are a brand. The kids understand that they're a business, and they're already trying to monopolize on that by, getting into a situation in which they can set themselves up to be an entrepreneur and be their own boss and be their own brand as they utilize their talent and their hustle with a brand. That's how it's supposed to go. And this actually, you could cross this over to the rap game. Hell, you could cross this over into just the financial structure of America.
Absolutely. Talk to him.
It's the exact same, because the financial structure in America is really simple. We are in debt. The government is in debt with the Fed. Fed is a private bank. They make the money. The government takes the money from the Fed at about 2 to 3%. The government then takes that dollar and gives it to us at 8%. So our dollar is already in debt, and we don't know it. So when we get in debt or when we need money, we have these banks around who determines if we are a good financial risk. The way they're able to determine that before they confront us money is they look at our credit. Well, in basketball, your credit is the work you put in. Your credit is your attitude. Your credit is your ability to be marketed. Your credit is your entertainment value. Because the thing that people ain't understanding is, when you look at the NBA, there ain't a lot of short people there, is it? It's a reason for that. The reason is the NBA is trying to sell you on the fact that this is the rarest, the most exotic of players that you're ever going to see. So we don't want to put in the normal guy's head that they can play with us. That's why it's so hard for a 5'11" guy to make it, even though he's probably just as good, if not better, than the 6'5" guy. I can market this 6'5" point guard way easier than I can market this 5'11" point guard. 5'11" point guards are a dime a dozen. So unless your daddy was in the NBA or your uncle was in the NBA or you have a machine behind you, you're going to fall short with this 6'4" guy who I know can do the same things you do. It may not be as good or it may not be as flamboyant, but it doesn't matter because I'm selling the exoticness of the game.
Or you just simply saying height matters.
No, it's just not just the height, because it's a lot of tall people that slow as shit. It's not just the height. It's the height, it's the athleticism, it's the fluidity of movements.
That's what I was just about to say. They love metrics. They love the metrics at the combine, all of that. They love those numbers. And especially in the league where everything is so potential based. And we're talking the
that is
potentially based. You know what I'm saying? And this is why you see some that when they get there, they physically look the part until the ball is thrown up and tipped in the air to start the game. Happens.
What is that? That is so true. That is so true. We sell more of the potential than anything, because what's the thing that you say in 94?
You're breaking up real bad, Travis. I want to
The
hear what
genetic.
What'd you say?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I was saying the potential was always sales. That's gonna say the one thing we do say, like in 94 Feet of Life, when we see players, we always say first they win a genetic lottery. Win a genetic lottery. And that's the thing that sells. I mean, it sells if it off, they're gonna sell that. That machine gonna push that. No matter in life, whatever machine in life is going to sell, regardless. It's going to sell. So.
And just to drive my point home, go ahead and use the music industry as another example as well. For those of you who've been like rocking with music for quite some time, I'm an old head. I'm about to be 40 next year. I've been listening to music for the most part since the 90s. Mid 90s is where I got into hip hop or whatever. So what I noticed in the mid 90s is, it was a lot of lyrically inclined rappers in which it's like, if you didn't know what you was doing or if you wasn't about what you was talking about, you can't sit with us. You can't even crack this area, right? So what eventually happened was this started becoming a multi-billion-dollar industry. So with money comes business and politics. And with business and politics, you have people who have the money who don't give two flying fucks about the culture or about the art of the craft. They're looking at monetizing and getting more money on the kickback and the flip. So it's hard for me to find another Biggie, but it ain't too hard to find a 16-year-old who could create a snap dance and a song. And if you notice in the 2000s, it was a lot of one-hit wonders in the 2000s, because basically what they was doing was anybody who got the following, anybody who got people that like this song, we rocking with them, and we gonna get that money off of them, and then just keep replacing them until the next great thing present itself. Because the beautiful thing about it is, if you're the bank, if you're at the top of the totem pole, eventually greatness is going to reveal itself to you, because they're looking at all the people that's making it, and this is going to make them grind even harder. And then next thing you know, you look up, boom, Kendrick Lamar, boom, J. Cole. Now you got guys coming back that's putting more extra, got to put more extra into it to make it. But once they make it, you get the best of both worlds now. So if you look at the NBA, you know, athleticism, upside in the 2000s. Athleticism. Boom, Steph Curry. And it's just like, you look at him and you don't want to, you know, invest in it. But if you think about it, think about the amount of work he had to put in to prove all of those doubters and naysayers. He had to lead the league in scoring. He had to lead the college in scoring. After he pretty much drug his team to the Elite Eight. Even after he drug his team to the Elite Eight, he couldn't even go into the draft. He had to come back again and show he could do it again. Then when he got on the team, he had to prove that he was like that all over again. Because once again, 6'3" dude, kind of quick. Y'all read what they said about him. He had to put the work in to be able to create his own narrative, but that was built because this NBA is now ran by businessmen who already know the look that they're going for. So in order for you to change my mind, you have to be immaculate. You have to be like the one. You have to completely change the narrative. And that's now the game is changing back to shooting because he was able to win a championship. If he never won a championship, you think they'll start investing in 6'3" shooters again? No. Rule number 2, and then I get this to you. Rule number 2. The players will always control the art of the game, but they will never own it. So they control and forecast what the game is going to do, but they don't own it. And there's the real problem.
Mm-hmm.
So real quick, I'm gonna dive into a couple comments real quick.
Okay.
Artie jumped on. Artie said it sounds like youth club soccer. Artie then said they he basically was saying, you know, well, laughingly was saying like, you know, they measure your ankles at the combine. Big Shot came in with a couple comments, which Big Shot is gonna have to explain to me personally later what he's talking about, because I'm really interested in hearing Big Shot explain this, like only Big Shot can explain it. First thing he said is, think of how 4-year college players are treated in the draft. Age 22 is old, which is true. That he says Soulja Boy is the greatest business plan ever. NBA courses could be taught based on him. Big Shot, you explaining that to your little brother later on. I'm calling you. So with that being said, I just want you to know that's what it is. Tyrell Love says, bring back upperclassmen. I hope you ain't talking about the movie. That's all I can say. But all that being said, MJ, the perfect thing that you're giving is this is why this bag is different that we're giving today. Number one, when you put it into the very strategic sentence of the players have the creative control, but they don't own it, that puts everything into perspective. Because if you don't own it, then at the end of the day, it either owns you or it possesses ownership of you in some way, shape, or form. Go ahead, Ham. I'm sorry. I'm just, the bag is different. That's light.
You got me reaching in mind because, especially as you say that, why immediately think about the media blackout? Now, I'm gonna give you a quick spoiler for tomorrow. The media blackout with Kyrie.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm gonna control mine, why would I take myself through these anxieties of dealing with these people when I could just add it? Look, I'm gonna cash app this money to y'all. I send y'all the check. Y'all got PayPal, NBA, whatever y'all want for these fines. However y'all want these fines done. I can just donate it to the charity of y'all choice. But this is also when we go back to the prior talk with the bubble, with the conversations they were having, and we got a report of Cal was like, let's start our own. If I start my own, I ain't got to worry about being fined about not talking to the media.
And the worst thing that you can do is convince the very thing that is feeding your family that they can do it by themselves without you.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you really want to be honest about this, it does not take much. The hardest thing to get, the players have already, the following. The hardest thing to get in regards to making your billions, your millions, or just getting financial freedom. And I'm going to quote one of my favorite movies, The Gladiator. Win the crowd, you win your freedom. The hardest thing to do is to win the crowd. Once you win the crowd, you win your freedom.
What? Man, I'm gone, man. What?
Once you win the crowd,
I want you to do this one more time. Let's start from the top and let's work our way down. Because I don't think people are paying attention. You said, let's start at the end. I want you to finish the sentence after I go here. Okay. You said, coming from my favorite movie, The Gladiator.
Yes, sir.
One of my favorite quotes from The Gladiator. And then MJ said,
win the crowd, win your freedom. You win the crowd, you win your freedom. And I'm going to give you another example just for people who really need to have this concrete evidence. So go back and look at all of the drafts, right? And look at the guys that didn't really pan out and look at some of the lottery or late lottery teams who they picked. I guarantee you this, without even having to look at it, I can guarantee you either an international player was picked, a player from a blue blood, or a player that is located close to the where the actual team is playing at was picked. Well, why is that? Why is he picking this dude from Michigan State? Why is Detroit picking this dude from Michigan State? Why is Oklahoma City picking this dude from Tulsa? Why is this happening? You want to know why this is happening? Because that kid got 100,000 people following him. And with those 100,000 people following him, when he makes those posts with his jersey on, he's going to get about 30,000 likes. So now with this kid, I got 30,000 people who is going to notice this brand. And I may be able to flip those 30,000 people into hopefully 200 people who will purchase a ticket to see this man in a suit.
That's cold.
Oh boy!
But
if the NBA was just about basketball, it would be 20 NBAs.
Yeah,
it's not.
Monopolize.
Not. It's not just about putting the ball in the basket. It's about relationships. It is about, is this guy bringing any concrete value to the table? When you ask for money at the bank, can you just go up there like, yo, give me 20,000? Oh, what you got? Nothing? All right, here you go. It don't work that way. They need you to have collateral. Oh, you own a house? Okay, well, we're going to utilize this house. If you don't pay us, we're going to take some money up out of that. Oh, you got this nice car? That's dope. We're going to take this car if you don't pay us back. They need collateral before they can give you kickback. In order for you to make it to this NBA, I need to know that you're going to give me my kickback before I pay you this million. So if you got 100,000 followers, I know at least half of those are going to watch the game. If half of those watch those 82 games, I've made my kickback in 10 times over just off paying you 1.4 million for the year. This is why that guy that is averaging 23 a game at mid-major school you don't know about, that you know is cold, is not in the NBA. Because he only got about 5,000 followers. And nobody knows or cares at the school that he play at.
As opposed to coming from the major D1 powerhouse where, just like the Bar Cheers, where everybody knows your name. They rooted for you, that you're on campus, especially if you were not even knowing them personally, but you was just seeing like a cool dude on campus.
And you know what? Just like any company,
mm-hmm.
Guess what's important in a company? Work environment.
Yeah.
So do I really want my 11th man to be talking crazy to the best player on my team, thinking that he can hoop me? Do I really want my 11th player talking about how the coach don't know what he's doing and he needs to be running this set and pulling people off my bench away from the actual goal and purpose? Or do I want this 11th man to put the arm around the superstar like, yo, you got this, we're going to get better? Do I want my 11th man to say to that 8th and 7th and 6th man who's frustrated about the coach yelling at him but not getting minutes, like, you know what? You know, he be tripping sometimes. Let's go ahead and get some shots up together. Let's go get something, ain't clear our mind. Let's get back to the money. I just described Jared Dudley. So for all y'all who saying he's sorry,
Wow.
he's
You know
important to
what?
the team.
All right, see, 5-minute warning. This is this is why we can't have shows with MJ, because we're not about to do this. We're not about to keep getting no. So with the 5-minute warning and everything like that, we got 5 minutes. We're gonna wrap up the show. Civilized, MJ, civilized.
Hey, I only cursed once. I think I'm doing great.
No, you cussed more
Hey
than once.
man, hey, it don't even matter. It don't even matter because it's all warranted and it's all worth it. Because the bottom line, it's hard to own the machine. It's hard to own a machine. It's only one person who is this close to owning the machine. It's number
Trav.
23 out west.
That's 20.
Trav.
Only one person.
Trav,
Only one person.
it's virtually impossible to own the machine, but it's very easy to own
right. And it's only one person that is very close to owning the machine.
I know. I got to
Just
repeat.
one type.
I saw J Ham on that one. I saw J Ham brain go crazy on that one. So I'm gonna repeat that.
It was funny because it's like on my way home, just thinking about, okay, where are we going? Which direction we going in today with this? And thinking about just some of the criticisms for people like this cat. I was thinking about the Kyrie stuff in general, and one of the criticisms, well, he ain't a leader. I'm like, okay, so what's a great leader in this league? And I just started thinking, and I'm like, Jared Dudley is a great leader. I swear. I'm about to get on the expressway, and I'm like, but he's not. That great leader doesn't always constitute best player.
Udonis Haslam. This man is continuously getting paid to be the OG on the team that keep everything fine.
Nick Collison got a jersey hanging in Oklahoma City. And it ain't because he was just a swell guy. He was also had some great leadership qualities that people didn't know about. This is why they kept him around. Dude was off the bench for 15 years for one team. There's something there. But when you said Jared Dudley, I was like, see, this how I know we brothers, man. We think too much alike.
I mean, if you actually just open your eyes and take a few steps back to just look at the total picture, things become more clear. But if you look at it too close, or if you look at it from an emotional standpoint, you're going to miss the things that's going on, to where you can actually be able to use some of these things to make the game better, or to even make a substantial profit with it, which what we're going to do. Let me go ahead and announce it now. Ball U will have its own streaming services, and we will be conducting commentary and breakdowns through the scene.
Film over feelings just ain't required to film over feelings. It's life too. It just don't require them, just ain't subjected to the film room with it.
No,
but you got to remove your emotions, step back, and take a view at the whole perspective.
Yeah,
that's film over feelings.
But because what Germ said at the very beginning of the show, they're only pushing 1 or 2 players. What about the other 3 through 10? Well, the other 3 through 10 need a machine.
Yep.
Why not the machine be the same?
There it is.
Well, when we be uncivilized like this sometimes when we get uncivilized, we try to just, here at the scene, we try to let you survey the whole scene, no pun intended. I just want you to understand that when MJ hit us up and MJ said he wanted to do this show today and everything else like that, I knew the show could have went 1 of 3 directions just because I understand how his mind works.
Right.
But once we got what the direction was, I say, yeah, he on something today. And it's real. But I want people to understand again, and this is the most important part. I probably got some quotables today. And we all probably got some quotables today out of this one. Because there's some things in here that I'm going over in my head right now. But do not allow yourself to think that things is all peaches and cream in life. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. And life, ladies and gentlemen, let me come a little closer so I can say this. Life is not fair. It's about the have and the have-nots. So if you have, you got a chance to have more. If you have not, you have not for a reason. Go ahead. We can get ready to wrap up. Just want to.
All right. So wrapping up, the main thing that we just want to make sure of, and we use basketball, but this could be an approach to life. I mean, the blueprint has never changed.
Mm-hmm.
Put your 10,000 to 13,000 hours a year in. Make sure that you're marketing yourself to the point where you can be able to encourage other people to market you, in which now you create your own machine that can get the attention of the big machine. And last but not least, stay humble, stay grounded with it, and continue to do the small things that will keep separating you apart once you get behind the machine. I think that part is missed the most. I think once you get there, people think they're too good, or they really think that they're special. You're not special. Somebody got to die for the loose ball. Why not you? Somebody got to make sure that the team don't fight each other. Why not you? There's literally a million things going on one team. And if one thing goes wrong, it can completely take that team out of contention for the NBA championship, or for a national title at college, or for a state championship at your high school, or for a tournament championship at your AAU team. They only take one or two small things to snowball into something big that you can't control anymore. And now you have a losing culture. That's all it takes. So while you're grinding in this thing, I highly encourage you that in the midst of your grind, stay humble, keep your humility, and be present enough to understand when something is going on that is affecting the culture. Be the leader to be able to change it and get it back where it needs to be at. So with that being said, you guys make sure that you follow the scene. Click like, click subscribe, follow us on Twitter, scene.the. Follow us on Instagram, the scene. You can find us in there as well. Follow us on Facebook. And we got 2 more shows coming. And I'm pretty sure they're going to just be at the same caliber, if not even a higher caliber as this one, because we've been bringing heat since we started this thing. And we're only going to get better because now we are becoming a machine. So that's where we're at.
That's MJ. That's Ham. That's Trav. I'm True. We see you later. Views on the 22, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central. Tune in. Thursday night preview show. And then, of course, we got Stoppage Time FC. Come kick it with the soccer crew and learn a few. Trav, you said you want to say something real quick?
Bottom line, don't be a Jay Reed. Y'all figure that out.
And with that being said, we out.